What's going on, Fast Turn Radio watchers, listeners, replay catchers? Gompers, what's up? Gompers just sent me a text, so I don't know. I'm dinging his phone or something. He's all upset. He might be in the chat room. He's probably listening to us. We have special guest Harvey Spektor on with us and throwing out some Scanner Monkey love tonight because that's where I see Harvey post the most. And I know he's got a lot of followers in that group giving out great information. And welcome, Harvey. Appreciate you being on the show.
Thanks for giving me another opportunity after last week didn't work out last minute. I appreciate the opportunity, Duane.
Oh, not at all, man. You had a baseball game. Your kid's a rock star, or baseball star, I guess. An all-star. Yeah. Maybe I should go with that. He's an all-star.
He had a good game.
I haven't seen any home runs lately, though. Is he still cranking them, or when they moved him up?
He's in a home run slump, but maybe the outfielders are just getting better in the 6-year-old league. So
yeah. So is he back to the 6-year-old league, or is he still playing above?
Yeah, he just played one game with the 7 and 8-year-olds. Back to the 6-year-old league until they need him again. Yeah.
All right, but that's cool. I mean, he got the call up. You know,
he did. I never got the call up, so I'm happy he got the call up.
No, my poor kids. You know, they tried t-ball and they're like, it's probably in your sport. You know, if you can't hit it off a stationary tee, let's see what else you can do. So, yeah, my kids not their thing. But anyway. Let's get it. I can't actually talk with these on. They drive me nuts. But let's get down to business. So first of all, family first, totally understand. And that's awesome. You are a family guy. I get that. Feeding your kid at 4:00 this morning is just amazing. In the meantime, you just happen to run like $1 million business, right? Or at least a $1 million revenue business.
We should do $1 million this year. Yes, sir.
That's awesome. And you're on pace for like what, 75, 100,000 this month again for the umpteenth month in a row?
I'd say 70, 75 would be safe. I like to do worst case scenarios when it comes to numbers.
Yeah, you've thrown out a couple of terms. We're going to explore some stuff. We're going to have some fun tonight because you okay. are. I don't know if people understand just how smart you are, because there's not many people that I talk to and they start talking about like math stuff and numbers and correlations and all that, and I'm just lost. I consider myself a math guy. You are on a whole different level. So we'll get into some of that, but you're doing all this on a Chromebook, or do you have computers at least somewhere? Because you said before the show started that you're on your iPad because your Chromebook doesn't work very well with Zoom, which is cool. But tell me you have a computer that you run this business on.
No, I don't. No computer.
That's awesome.
They always end up getting slow. I don't want it to be slow. So the only thing I really ever need a computer for is if I'm building like some crazy Excel document, like a statement of cash flows over 5 years, like for a business plan client or something. I'll go to the library and use like a huge monitor there so I can see everything, which I would do anyway, even if I had a laptop at home. So I really don't have a need for it.
That just blows me away, because the one thing that strikes me about you is as much money as you're making. And, you know, we all talk about the profits, and we did a little bit last week with Todd, you know, joking around about, yeah, you do the big numbers, but you don't really make a profit. You guys, I won't give away anything other than you are killing it, not only with the big sales numbers. Obviously, there is a lot of profit to be had there. And yet you lead a minimalist lifestyle, which I actually applaud. I mean, you know, I'm a big Dave Ramsey guy. I'm kind of the, you know, buy a used car who needs new cars. You take it to an extreme, and in a good way. I see you as someone who does not need the foo-foo crap surrounding them to make them feel better about themselves or whatever. It's like, dude, I just need to get the job done and move on. That's how I read it. Is that the way you are, or am I taking that wrong? Because I really am trying to get to know you.
That's the way I am. I haven't always been that way. I mean, I had some really good jobs in my mid-20s and had some fun and, you know, went on vacations and spent some money on the weekends with friends. But now I guess the older I get and the more family becomes involved, I'm a lot more concerned about, you know, how much money I actually have versus how much money people think I have.
Love that statement. That speaks volumes. There's a lot of showy people in this world, not just in FBA, but there are definitely there too, that say, here, look at the big numbers. Here's, even if they throw out profits or whatever, which very few do. I don't like to throw out profits, mainly because it takes me so damn long to crunch the numbers. It's the main thing. That's why I was talking to you last night about how do I take this information and be able to do something with it. I don't want to sit here for the next 4 hours to figure out my profits on the last 30 days. Numbers like that, it's too hard to crunch. It's a lot easier to just throw up a screenshot. But the ability that you have to take that minimalist attitude, to understand that it's what you have and not what other people think you have, that is truly important, and that will definitely serve you well. No doubt about it. I drive around in a 2002 Honda Odyssey. I couldn't care less. Oh, dude, nice hair. It was hiding under the hat. It got hit the other day in the Walmart parking lot while I was sourcing and got a big ding on the bumper. Whatever. I called the cops just because I thought the guy beside me hit me. He's like, I'll check the cameras. So then they tell me to pick up the paperwork like a week later. I go to get the paperwork and it says, went to the security office and nobody was available. Well, thanks, man. That's awesome. So now my van's got this big dent in the bumper and it's all cracked up and the paint's chipped off. And, the security cop was out to lunch, so you didn't do an investigation. If I had a real vehicle, that would have made me mad. Right. Instead, I went, whatever, now it's got character. There you go. It's still hauling cargo. Then I was sitting in the CVS parking lot and a lady hits me while I'm sitting there. Just kind of scraped along the side. Like a couple of days later, it's like, okay, what is it about this van? Why am I just getting hit randomly? But, no
I crashed into a guy in the fourth quarter. I backed into him. So, hey, it happens.
I think that's what happened here. I really do. I think somebody backed out because the way it looks, I think they just ran into it. But, when you're not riding around in a $30,000, $40,000 vehicle, taking a little bump, not a big deal. But, all right, back to business. I'm sorry. Took a little side trip there. So you're running this business on a Chromebook. Do you have employees? Do you have a warehouse or employees?
I do have employees. I don't have a warehouse, although I do use an alternate site prep company. I use Prime Zero Prep in New Hampshire for probably 80 to 90% of my OA.
Okay.
And that's been since March when they opened. That's gone real well. I'm lucky enough to have retired and in good health parents about 3 hours north. And they do some shopping for me, and they handle some of my OA as well. So that's kind of, I guess, an alternative warehouse or whatever. But for the most part, I run it out of my garage. I mean, it's relatively big. It's probably 280 square feet. But I have a gentleman that helps me with delabeling and bagging 2 hours, probably 4 or 5 days a week. And then I have a disabled veteran that helps me probably 30 to 40 hours a week, and he's pretty good, and he's getting better. He's to the point now where I can send him shopping. He can do a shipment himself as long as it's easy. Catches some of my mistakes, and that's really all you can ask is that they keep learning and can keep you on track. And my little boy helped me after school today for about an hour and a half. He was all excited. He earned $2.35.
That's awesome.
He gets a nickel an item. So
I like that.
He was pumped.
I love that. As a matter of fact, when my son's 12, he should really be able to help more than he does. But by the time he gets done whining and crying, sometimes I'm just like, forget it. I'll just go take care of it. But when when the mood strikes him and he really does want to work, it's like, yeah, man, I'll give you a quarter an item. I don't want to charge you per hour. I don't want to. No, here's what I need done. When you get it done, I'll pay you for it. And as many as you can do, that's how much money you can make. When you get tired, go back in the house. And so I love that model. I really do. And that, that's another Dave thing that I picked up was forget the hourly wage. Go with what the task is and how much it's worth to you. So do you do that with your employees too, or do you pay them by the hour?
Good thing was he really, so it was slow there for a minute. My employees I pay by the hour. Yeah.
Okay. So you do pay them by the hour. Yeah, it froze up for just a second, but you're back now. Okay, so employees get paid by the hour. Kids get paid by, the item. They're getting a nickel an item. So that's cool.
Yeah. Parents get paid in gas.
In gas?
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, you guys got a killer setup. We talked about that with Todd, man. You get the same free gas that they do, or do you swing another?
No, they're swinging a bigger stick than I am on that one. I get $1 off Kroger. They get apparently free.
They get paid to take the gas. They're like, take this gallon of gas, we'll give you $3. Okay. Yeah, I saw some of Todd's receipts, man. It was like $5.80 off a gallon. I don't know how much gas is in Pennsylvania, but I know it's only about $2.50 here in Georgia. So
right.
And you're where? You're in Nebraska? Is that right?
No, I'm actually in Kentucky, but my Facebook profile says Nebraska.
Okay. All right.
I was really incognito when I started, but it's all good now.
So you took on an alias. You put yourself in a different part of the country. Not paranoid at all, are you?
It was funny because when I first signed up for Scanner Monkey, Jay sent me an email and he goes, okay, I don't know who you are, but like you got to give us something. Fake name, fake this. Can you at least put up some sort of a picture? I'm like, okay, sure, man. But I mean, I've loved that group and the people I've met there. I never thought I would be as networking and socially involved as I am now, and that's probably my favorite part of all this, and probably what's made me as successful as anything else is those relationships. So it's been nothing but the best.
Yeah, the Scanner Monkey is awesome. And I've told Jay that since I was around from the time it started, and he has done such an incredible job of growing that group. And it's not just a Facebook group. I mean, it truly is a community and a service and information hub and discount hub. I mean, he's done a lot of different parts. And you see my group. You see what happens when you don't do anything with the group. You didn't even know I had one like a week ago. I finally put you in there because I needed to tag you in something. But, nothing happens. But Jay drives that group and you contribute mightily to it. And you're one of those voices that when you speak or when you type, it's like, hey, what's Harvey up to? Because it's always just good stuff. Even if it's how you got a whole stack of 20% off coupons and, some of the controversial stuff that sometimes comes up in there.
Oh, yeah.
The Target coupons.
Mm-hmm.
But that's good that you gave back to the community, though. You care to you want to share that story for anyone that may not know?
The Target 20% off coupons?
Yeah.
Sure. Last November, I think it got brought up because of the Target banning resellers thing or whatever. It got brought up about how several of us hit them pretty hard with the 20% off coupon. And I had told the story that I sent one of my shoppers in fourth quarter. I said, okay, go to Target, buy these items, and don't come back until you have at least 10, 20% off coupons. If you can't get them all in one store and they kick you out, go to another store. But I need at least 10, preferably more, because you can use them for a whole week and we're going to travel. So I'm prepping the shipment for them to work on later, because no one could do that at the time. So he's back in like 35 minutes, and I go, what are you doing here? And he goes, well, I got a bottle of Crown at the Derby, so getting a stack of these coupons was nothing. He spent $75 and he hands me an entire stack of Target coupons. I kind of felt bad about it, but not really. So to make myself feel better, like when I was shopping, I would find whoever had the most stuff or the most kids with them, and I would go and I would give them one, so they would get like at least like $100 off of their purchase. So that made me ethically feel like that was okay.
So just acquired a large amount of coupons through other means. Yes, that's awesome that you gave back to the community, though. But really, what I love when I read it, and it's even better to hear you say it. I mean, it's funny that, yeah, I could sneak a bottle of Crown into the Derby. This was no big deal. But really, it's that drive that seriously, you said, we're going on the road. We need at least 10 of these. Go do this. Don't come back until it's done. Now, again, that's the same sort of thing where I don't care if it takes you an hour. I don't care if it takes you a night. I don't care if you come back in a half an hour. This is the job. The job is get these coupons. It is not go for 4 hours so I can pay you $20 an hour to drive around. Forget that. I'll give you $100 when you come back with 10 coupons. You know, that mentality of kind of trading what I need done versus the time. So you didn't care about that. So that's awesome. And more importantly, the drive, the absolute, I have a plan. I know what I need. This has to get done. Don't come back until it's done. And if you do, go work somewhere else. I don't know if you would actually say that to them, but it's kind of the feeling you get, which is, I need this done. You're the guy to do it for me. And there's no middle ground. There's no confusion. There's no nothing. And that's awesome. And it's really, I'm looking at you, you take it for granted, because I'm not that hard on people. I'd be like, you know, go to the store, and if you could get like 1 or 2, that'd be really helpful, because it's like 20% off, and I would like to have that percentage. You're like, no, man, this stuff's got to get done this way. And that really sends a signal. And that's why you don't need all the fancy equipment and all the stuff. You know what your end game is and how to accomplish that. And that comes through even in the little stories. So very impressive. Truly. And a funny story. Here's my snack.
It was funny.
I'm just going to hand these out just to make everyone feel better about everything. So that's good. I'm glad you get back. So let's get on to some of the math stuff a little bit.
Sure.
I want to know, in the chat room, who knows what, and tell me if I say this wrong, is it Pascals Triangle or Pascals? It's probably Pascals.
No, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Who knows what Pascals Triangle is? Pascals? Whatever. Anybody? Please say yes if you know. Pascal's wager, question mark from Declan. Yeah, nobody knows, man. Oh, wait. Chris says yes. I think I learned it once. Place to buy gift cards. Somebody threw out, Lori Stalter may know. She's kind of an intelligent, learned person. All right. Can you explain just a little bit? Because that's one of those terms. Let me give you guys a backstory. I'm reading through a thread that Harvey wrote last night, and suddenly it comes up, and it, correct me if I'm wrong, you said something about I used Pascal's Triangle and applied that to wagers that I made in the past. One, I didn't know what it was. Two, I still don't know exactly what it is, but at least I see how the little pattern gets formed. I don't know how to apply that stuff. What in the world is going through your mind? How are you using math to better your business on a daily basis, I guess, is kind of what I'm looking at. You don't really have to explain the Pascal's Triangle or whatever, but what is your background that allows you to use that knowledge that you've gained to advance so much in this business?
Okay, I should be able to give a quick example. Is I use Pascal's Triangle to just maximize positive expectation sports bets that happen to be correlated. So when two things are more likely to happen, if you bet them together, you'll make more money than if you bet them independently. And it also protects your downside risk. So where that applies to the business is I've really gotten into shoes since January. So in analyzing my shoes, my inventory in shoes is really big, to the point that I've kind of slowed it down a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit. I'm still really bullish on shoes. But I have made a couple bad buys. And what I've realized is if you make a bad buy in a shoe, so I tend to buy several of each size in a certain style. So what I realized is if you make a bad buy in one size, it's probably going to be a bad buy across that entire style of shoe. So if I buy 8 sizes, 3 shoes per size, that's 24 shoes, and I paid $50 a piece. That's about $1,200 I'm on the hook for. And I have a couple of those buys where nothing has moved. So I just kind of went back and evaluated my business, and I have a general rule that I also learned from sports betting, which was no matter how good the bet, you don't ever risk more than 1% of your bankroll. So if your bankroll to sports bet is, say, $10,000, you don't really bet more than 100. So I kind of take that approach to this business. Use some different programs to know the value of their inventory and such. I just use a rough estimate. Like I take my total number of pieces of inventory, and then I divide my ASP by 2.5, because generally my ASP is 2 to 3 times what I pay for something. So I can get a rough estimate of my inventory value. So if my inventory value is $60,000 and I'm looking at a pair of shoes, in that pair of shoes to invest in 3 of every size is $1,200, I don't make that investment, because to me that would be like buying the same amount of, say, one toy or one bicycle helmet or one something, because the style of that shoe and all those sizes are correlated, and even though they're all different ASINs. So that's, I guess, how I would bring in the stuff from Pascal's Triangle and correlated sports bets and all that into this business to help, protect my downside risk. So then I either decide, I buy one of every style of the shoe, I look a little deeper, I make sure it's moving, or I pass and I look for something better. So to answer your question about how I apply that kind of stuff to the business, that's it. And I did not apply it like that at first. I made a couple bad buys, and I went back and I looked and I said, they may have only been $30 a piece, but that's a $1,200 investment in something that, if it's bad on one, it's bad on all of them. So hopefully that made sense and isn't too confusing.
No, that's fascinating is what it is, because that is a huge problem that I've run into with shoes and somewhat clothing, but more with shoes. So that was a perfect example, because a shoe line, you're dead on accurate that a shoe line does correlate to a single toy, because the parent listing is the only thing that has rank. There's nothing to tell us outside of maybe a couple of indicators such as reviews as to what size people are buying. So if you buy a dud across the line, you may have a great ranked shoe, but it's the white one, and you got 8 different sizes of the black one. You just bought the wrong shoe. It doesn't matter how great the rank is on that white variation. You got all the black ones, you're done. And so that I love the fact that you put that together. Your mind is amazing. Just the way you broke down the 2.5% on the ASP to be able to come up with what's 1% of your overall inventory. I would say that I think for people with a smaller bankroll, there's no way you could stay at that 1%, but that's just me. Because if you're starting with $1,000, it's tough to really buy only $10 items. I mean, but
it absolutely is. When I first started my first fourth quarter, I didn't have much, and I found a really good return on a $200 Calphalon pan set. And after I bought it, I was like sweating bullets whether that thing was going to sell for $500 and then get returned. So that was a buy I shouldn't have made based on my own criteria, but I couldn't turn it down at the time. Luckily it went through, but
I found my threshold to be about 20%, and never on one product. It wouldn't be like, I'm going to buy a set of pans that cost, if I had $20,000 in the bank, it's a $5,000 pan. That's not happening. Or excuse me, 4,000. See, my math is nowhere near as good as yours. I wouldn't do that on one product, but on a product line or like a frozen line or something, I'll go up to 20%, because I figure if I lose, I've still got 80% of my business to try to recover from that. That was just the formula I came up with. You are obviously much more targeted in what you do, and you tend to go wide. Is that correct? Versus just going all in on one product then? Because if you're staying 1% of your budget on a product or a product line, you must be going extremely wide in your purchases. Is that correct?
I'm pretty wide, but I mean, I have several things I have over 100 quantity of right now.
Okay. All right.
Now, that may be a lot to some people. That may be not much at all to others, but me, that's a lot.
It's starting to make my head spin sometimes. I mean, I'm getting into some of these buys where, it used to be 100 was unthinkable to me. And now I got 300 or something and I'm going, I need more because it's selling too fast. Suddenly this 300 is going to last me a month. That's not cool. And I can't get any more. So, yeah, it's a little insane. So it's definitely not just a number. It has a lot to do with sell-through rate, what your bankroll is, what you can afford to hang on to. And as long as your business is moving forward, and you're not getting bogged down in bad buys. So you said the 2.5%, and that leads me to believe that, like you said, everything is double or 3 times what you pay. So you're not going to pay $50 for a pair of shoes to sell it for $70. You're looking for $30, $25 pairs of shoes that you're selling for $75. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you do have margin. So not only are you doing $100,000 a year, or a month.
I've only done $100,000 a month once. That's not.
Oh, it's just once. Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm not Todd Forster.
Yeah, Todd is, dude. Even when you think you're having a good day, and forget me, when you think you're having a good day, Todd will come in and be like, "Yeah, it was okay, but here's what a good day looks like."
I had a really good day yesterday, and he put up just some absurd number.
Almost doubled it,
just
man.
Absurd. I'm not even going to say what it was. It was just absurd.
I'm not at liberty to say, but my God, yeah, it just, well, think about me, and here I am. I'm like, I almost did 1,000 yesterday. I mean, here's Todd. Yeah, it was better than my best day ever. My goodness, that's crazy. Do we have questions in the chat room? I haven't even been, this is why I don't have guests and try to keep up with the chat, because I can't do it. I can either focus on you or the chat room.
I can't even get to the chat room, so I can't read them. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, at the bottom of your screen, if you want to see the chat, you can tap on the bottom of your screen. A little thing will come up that says chat.
There it is.
Yeah. Then it'll come up in a little pop-up window for you. So I don't know. If anybody I'll just throw this out there. If anybody has any questions, I will start to look more. I'm sorry, I've just been kind of caught up in the conversation. So if you have questions, throw them out there. Does Harvey send wholesale to Prime Zero Prep OA? Yeah, there you go. That's a decent question. What kind of mix do you have going on? You probably know to the exact percentage, but how much is RA, OA? Wholesale?
I know, because I don't really have much wholesale unless somebody graciously asked me to go in on something with them, which I graciously accept. Wholesale is not. It's something I need to learn more about as I grow, because I'm to the point now where it's hard when you can't buy enough of something to maintain, let alone grow. So I've reached out to some people that are really good at wholesale. You being one of them, you're much more experienced than I am. So that's kind of next on the horizon, I guess, for me. I'd probably send 40% OA to Prime Zero Prep. It's normally 50 or 60, but the RA has been so good the last probably 3 weeks that I've done, at least I put my capital to work more on RA. But I send quite a bit. I send quite a bit to the prep center, everything I can. I've slowed down in shoes a little bit, as I mentioned earlier. So that's slowed down my sends up there. But
so are you out doing RA every day, a couple of times a day, or a couple of times a week, or what's your frequency on actually doing the RA, or do you send your guy out every day?
I shipped all day today. I guess I'm lucky that I pretty much love every bit of this business. It's not really work to me. It's fun. So I probably don't have the sense of urgency to replace my RA as much as I should with things like wholesale and that, because I enjoy shopping. I enjoy going to stores. I enjoy RA much better than OA. I probably retail shop maybe 3 or 4 times a week. My thing I don't like, and I've mentioned this in other casts, I do not like checking out. I don't like checking out RA. I don't like checking out OA, like at all. So now when I do RA, probably over half the time I bring somebody with me and they check out. And I either go sit in the car and change prices, or I drive my car to the next big buying event. And then I check the receipts and make sure they have the right rewards numbers and things like that. But I've pretty much outsourced checking out at RA places.
Yeah, I talked to Todd about it a little bit last week, but yeah, I think it's awesome. Yeah, see, I set mine at 100 just as an arbitrary number. I was like, yeah, it's worth $7 to me to sit here and go through all this junk. But yeah, now they've taken it away. Not a big deal. I guess I'll survive. And then they have done away with it. The resale does not show up next to K5 anymore. So it is.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, OA, I don't know. I'm having a hard time with OA, honestly. I get tired of just looking on my computer. I'd rather be in the stores. I'd rather be looking for wholesale deals, something. And I'm trying to get us some wholesale deals. Man, I'm working on it. It's just people are not coming through right now. Kind of make me mad. Trying to hold up my end of the bargain. Beaver said, you mentioned once that you don't like to cut your losses. I'm having trouble with that. I make mistakes and I have to cut my losses. I wonder how you manage not to run out of money doing this.
Good question. Sometimes I do run out of money. I had a pretty good fourth quarter, so that's one of the reasons I went into shoes so heavy, as I was trying to find stuff that was expensive that I could make 15 to 30% a month on that investment. So I do run out of money sometimes, but I probably don't hold as much stuff as I say. You just hear about my 109 Elsa snow globe dolls that I just sold last week because the price bounced back to 28 from 23.
What'd you pay for those?
28.
Oh, okay. I had to take a loss on them.
It happens. I do lose money, definitely.
That's why you buy it that 2 and 3X to make
sure. I did. But I had 400 of them I sold at 48 to 55 before that. So, it was house money, and it was an unjust restriction. So it was one of those things where I'm like, I'm holding this thing, and I finally sold it.
Yeah. Speaking of Elsa, if you're just doing online arbitrage, you don't get the chance to kind of diss her at Target in the toy aisle. It just isn't the same.
That was my favorite video.
That was awesome. Threw the elbow to Elsa. Just fine. I'm glad you enjoy what you're doing, man. And that really does come through with all the young guns. The three of you, and now, Agus getting into that group. You guys love what you're doing. And it comes through loud and clear. And that's why you guys are willing to do all the hard work, all the RA and the packing and the shipping. And you guys have a great time doing it. I wake up some mornings and I see all these messages. You guys were up until 2 o'clock in the morning, just shooting the breeze while you're actually working at the same time. And it's amazing. You guys work 10 times harder, but enjoy it 100 times more than anyone I know. And it shows in the results in spades, man. If anyone has to question why you're not at the level that Harvey's at, and Todd and Matt and Agus, I'm telling you, is charging hard. If you for 1 second wonder, well, is it where they live? Is it XYZ? What we say? What's tonight's theme? No excuses, right? You have no excuse. You just don't work as hard as these guys do. I promise you don't. I know I don't. And I consider myself to be a hard worker. I don't hold a candle to any one of these guys. You guys work incredibly hard. And the results are there. And it shows up. And it's not foo-foo. I sold this and, moving money and just putting up the numbers. That's crap. It's the actual money in your pocket at the end of the day. And it's freaking impressive, period. And I'm honored to be associated with you guys at all. And to be able to have a few minutes of your time tonight even is, that's precious stuff, man. You can get paid like $170 an hour or whatever, because that's, you won't even check out for that much. So thank you for spending a few minutes with us. And we do have some more questions that Leron, who is, do you know who Leron is?
That dude's doing like four large a month.
Yeah. He's coming in. He's like, I want to do $500,000 in a month. I'm doing
Ask him if he wants to do a wholesale deal with me. I'm in.
You hear it, Leron? I mean,
whatever he's doing is working.
I know a little bit of what he's doing, but it's still, man. Where is, okay, he wants to know, can you ask about training a VA to do OA? So do you have a VA that you have doing your OA for you? Sounds like you're doing it yourself.
I don't. We've kicked it around. I'm a member of several paid groups. I'm a DDR contributor. So obviously I contribute deals, but once I'd been with DDR for just a short period of time, I really saw the value. So I reached out to some other groups to kind of fill in my OA gap. So I don't really, excuse me.
That's okay. I'm sorry.
I don't really hunt for OA too much anymore. I'll certainly rabbit trail things. But as far as just hunting them, I pretty much pay for the information at this point.
All right. There you go. So don't bother training your own people. And that's a valid point, really. There are so many services and so many people that have already trained VAs. Why take on the hassle of training your own? Just pay someone to train one for you. Pay for one of the services that are out there. There are a ton of ways to do it without going through the headaches yourself. That's something I've heard for a couple of years now with VAs. Just that you got to be very specific in what you say and how you structure things, and they are very literal in everything that you say. So yeah, just
you do have to be specific for employees. I was gonna share this in a post on the board, but do you want to hear a funny story about being specific with an employee that happened yesterday?
Of course.
So I'm talking to my employee. We're shipping some stuff, and I'm like, hey, this box is kind of heavy. You think it's over 50? And he, before we had to move it to the scale, and he goes, no, I think it's okay. So then a little bit later, I'm like, how much does that one weigh over there? And he says 25 pounds, and I'm making the shipment, and I say, I see what's in that box. I said, no way that weighs 25 pounds. Go tell me how much it weighs. He goes, well, I thought as long as it was under 50, it didn't matter. And I go, are you serious? Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm giving you like $2,000 gift cards to go shop for me at the store, and you don't realize that I pay for weight when I ship stuff. Like, you've got to be joking.
Yeah,
so
man.
Don't take anything for granted.
As long as it's under 50, you pay the same. Don't you just pay for 50-pound packages every day? So I just throw a number in. Now, that actually leads me, well, first of all, let me just real quick. My brother-in-law, I had to have a conversation with him the other day. I don't have it. You know the saran wrap stuff that comes on a roll?
Yeah.
My brother-in-law and my in-laws are doing FBA now. He will take one of those rolls, and I don't care what it is. If it's in a bag, he still saran wraps it. If it's in a box, he saran wraps the box. I was like, dude, do you know how much of that stuff you're using? I said, apparently you don't pay for this. He's like, oh no, Dad takes care of it. So, he works with my father-in-law. They're got their own little business going. I was like, if you actually had to pay the bill on that thing, you would not use nearly as much. But dude, he'll reel off like a quarter of a thing. It's like, if people would just pay the bill just once, I swear they would change how they do things. But yeah,
that's the biggest thing I've learned is about running your own business. I mean, I've been schooled on it. I've watched other people do it. I thought I could do it better than them when it wasn't my responsibility. But now, I look at it in a whole different way. Actually probably simpler, whereas now it's just, any way I can buy time, whether it's with an employee, whether it's with a prep center, whether it's with an app or a functioning website or program or buying a deal list or whatever, is whatever I can do to buy myself more time for cheaper than that time is worth, I do it. And that's pretty much the simplest answer I can give to being a quote unquote CEO or owner or entrepreneur or whatever. If you can buy time, buy it.
See, now I will ask you this then, because this blew me away. When you and I had a conversation the other night, I could not believe it. You still do not buy boxes, correct? You borrow, beg, steal, what? Not literally, but you get them any way you can, but you will not buy them.
That's correct. And it probably actually would be cheaper time-wise to buy them, but it's kind of like one of those things that keeps me remembering when I had to like really, really hustle and I wanted that extra, $10 to put towards inventory, when I first started, because, that $10, compounded every month is a hell of a lot more than $120.
I'm with you.
It over and over and over and over again. So.
In the beginning, and first of all, look, no computer, doing this stuff off a Chromebook, borrowed boxes, and running $1 million business is, dude.
No, when I first started, I didn't have an iPad or a Chromebook. I had an iPhone, a Honda Accord, and no printer. That's what I started with.
And it just shows that we're spoiled. Those of us that are spending money on stuff, like I bought a 4XL printer today because they were on discount for like $116, and I don't need it. I bought it in case my other one breaks or something. You probably don't even have one. I guess you're doing this off like a laser printer only or something. Are you still?
Yeah, I've been mocked pretty hard for that lately. We're gonna have to make some changes.
Yeah, you need to at least step up to a 450 turbo. If you didn't make so much money, I'd send you one. But man, I got a feeling if I sent you one, it'd just sit in the box. So if not,
I have a dyno out there.
Okay, you do have a dyno.
Kyle Smeezing told me about it. Some deal on it last November, and I bought it and never used it. It's still in the box. Don't tell him.
That's exactly why I wouldn't send you one. I knew it would sit in a box. I could tell. No, man, you got to step up to that. But all right, on the boxes. So yeah, I would agree that once I started buying boxes, because I knew how big they were and I knew what fit in them, and you just know which box to go to, it does cut down your time. So you're not looking for boxes and you're not looking for the right box. It's, it's either over 18 inches or it's not. And you just grab the box. I really, truly do believe it would cut down on your time. But if it's in your heart to keep borrowing boxes, dude, I'm not going to.
Well, I have a really good hookup. I get a good friend of mine is a medical sales rep, and he has a good relationship with a hospital, and they pallet their boxes every week. And we go there and we pick them up.
Okay, so you're not.
They're not always there though. I mean, there's times I got to go to Kroger at 3 a.m. or TJ Maxx's dumpster or something. That does happen, but.
Okay.
I do have I'm not driving around all day sourcing boxes.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious. Now, all right, last question about boxes. Do you put in your dimensions? You talked about the weight. Do you put your dimensions on your boxes?
Absolutely not.
That's something I've learned from you guys. I've stopped doing it. Michael Flanagan, kind of gave me a hard time about it. He just said me either. I've learned from you guys. From Michael, I've seen him stop doing it. KIB doesn't do it. You guys don't do it. The young guns. I'm like, well, why am I the only fool paying the dimensional weight then? If they're going to assess it anyway, then I'm not really out anything. And if they don't assess it, then cool. I save a few bucks and you save time.
Right.
It's just one less step to sit there and measure and try to remember and write it all down. And so, yeah, Audrey said you don't have to put dimensions. Technically, no. They will accept your shipment if all you do is put in the weight. I don't know why it's not required, but apparently until it is, a lot of people aren't doing it. I wish I didn't have to put the weight. That's a pain. Well, yeah, you're always going to have to put the weight. That's going to happen.
Just put a weight in, copy.
Yeah, especially the way you guys do it, man. That's if we can get to some of the wholesale stuff. Oh man, there's nothing like it. Like a case came in the other day, or it was like 4 cases. Yeah, it's just Same thing. It was all commingled. Do you commingle or are you stickered?
I'm stickered, but I pay Amazon to label stuff sometimes.
Okay.
When I get like behind. But I'm trying to do commingling. I just don't like. I do a lot of grocery, and you can't commingle grocery. So
Right.
I'm already turning the distributed and the. I use IP a lot. A lot of people don't like IP. I use IP a lot. So when I'm already changing IP and distributed back and forth, then that becomes another thing I've changed back and forth. So here's a math thing. That means I have 4 settings instead of 2 when you combine all the combinations of those 2 things.
I'm with you. Yeah, I have not done the IP. I'm not a big fan of it. By the time you pay the extra 30 cents to have it all go to one place, and then from there it gets distributed out to other places, it's just, I don't know. I don't like it. For me,
I do it for convenience of employees packing boxes more than anything. And I guess that includes me. I don't want to have to look at a paper and put a certain number of the things in every box. It's more of a time thing for me than anything else.
Okay.
And the money that it costs doesn't cost me any money when I have to ship it and I count my time. It's positive EV for me to pay for IP. And I don't pay it on shoes because they all go to the same place anyway.
Right.
I don't pay it on oversized because you'll be out of business.
Yeah. And then of course, if you have the 18 or more of the same unit, do you get to the one warehouse? You must from Kentucky. You probably get CVG3, right?
I get a lot of that warehouse. Yes.
Yeah. Little piece of me doesn't like you very much right now. Takes me
Hey,
2 days.
We all have competitive advantages. You have your show. I have my warehouse an hour away.
What kind of competitive advantage is this show? Oh, yeah, I get to waste an hour every week. Not really a waste, but I'm sitting here talking to people for an hour. That's it.
I bet you get lots of opportunities that the rest of us don't because everybody knows you.
Well, that might be true.
That's
like
good.
I get to hang out with you guys because I do this show. Otherwise, you would have had no clue who I was. So that's true. That's a good point. That's time well spent. Man, I do have you beat.
Told you.
All right, let's talk about one last thing that has something to do with numbers. And we had a little bit different takes on it. The new pricing tab that's in Seller Central. When I saw it, I thought, oh, wow, Amazon's created a new repricer for us. You kind of had a different take when you saw it, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, I haven't actually looked at it. I clicked on it and I just didn't have time to look around. I was really against repricers up until, I don't know, last August when I started getting so many SKUs that it became a necessity. It wasn't that I really wanted to do it. But it's essentially game theory at its worst, in my opinion, if people are being competitive. The other thing is I've noticed with some of the repricers, you can set your this goes in a little more detail than I did in my post, but you can set it to be, you put in your cost of goods, you put in your shipping costs and whatever other costs you want to put in, and then you can put a percentage in to mark it up, and that will be your minimum price, and then you probably put in another percentage and it adds on to make your maximum price. So that's how you form your prices. Well, in my opinion, that's exactly what the big box retailers do, both online and in store. And that pricing system, in my opinion, is exactly why we can do what we do and we have the opportunities that we have. If you get, 1,000 different toys in and you price them all at cost plus 40% at the store, some of them you're never going to sell until you blow them out at 50% off clearance. And other ones, the resellers are going to buy you out in a half an hour. So that inefficiency is one of the reasons that we can make money buying stuff retail and reselling it online. So there's no way I would use a repricing model where I'm doing a cost plus. So I do all my repricing individually on the item, where I think it's at, where it's going, what the competition is, things like that. So repricers are great, but the problem is if you have 17 people on a listing and 15 people know how to use a repricer and 2 don't, then no one makes any money.
It screws everything.
And
It screws up
when you
everybody.
put that, yeah, when you put that right in front of people where they don't have to pay for it, and this is assuming it has mins and maxes. I have not went into the program, so to be fair, I have not went through. But if it's a program that allows min and max pricing, I don't think it's good for the sellers, because you allow access to everybody and access to people that don't know what they're doing with it because they just started, and that's pretty scary, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one thing that I do worry about every time I talk to a new seller. Some get it immediately, and some never get it. You got to understand your fees and what goes into all this stuff. You cannot take a $4 toy and sell it for $8 and say you made $8. And I've heard that
What?
a few times, that it's not often, but you'll just run into people that'll say, I bought this for $4 and I sold it for $8. I made $8. It's like, whoa. Okay.
I want to play poker with them.
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, you paid $4 for the thing. So you kind of got to take out your cost of goods to begin with. And then you have the Amazon fees. You didn't make anything. You know what you did? You showed a sale price of $8. Way to go. That does not happen often, but it happens. If that person, you're right. If you are competing against that person with a piece of software and you don't set it up right to guard against that person, you guys can drive each other into the dirt, and it's just eventually the customer is going to buy you out and it'll be over. But for me, the only things I need in a repricer personally, and especially in Q4, if it goes above that point, get up there, because that's where I lost a ton of money last year in Q4. Was I would send something in at $10, that I bought for $10, thinking I was making money, great money at 30. And by the time it hit the warehouse, it sold like before I knew it was checked in. And sure enough, the price is at 35 or 37. I didn't price up to meet the market demand. And that's where I didn't like it. Edith says, why set a max? I don't know. I guess that's just the part of me that's not.
Well, I set a max because, it's got to be in a sellable range, even if there's no other sellers. Yeah. I want the price, the maximum price I think people will actually pay.
Yeah. There are certain things that you hold in your hand and you go, this is not $100 toy. I don't care. Some of the Target exclusive stuff that's out right now, that's, at $50. You can look at it and go, man, are people really going to pay $100 for this at some point? I don't think so. I'm not touching it.
I know the toys you're talking about, and I think Target overpriced them to price the resellers out of the market, which is actually smart on their part if that's what they want to do. Yeah,
those are $25 toys that should resell, after the market gets blitzed for maybe $50. Because when you hold it in your hand, it's iffy if it's a $50 product. It's definitely not a $100 product. There's no way.
God, no.
So in the 40 for 80, not there. It's just so. Yeah, I'm with you. I want the max, I guess, because to me, I just look at it and I go, if I'm the customer and I pay too much for this, I'm just sending the stupid thing back. Well, I don't want those returns. I want to find that happy medium, at least in my mind, where I'm comfortable selling that product and I think it's going to stay sold. It's one thing to sell it. It's another thing to keep it sold. I don't need that coming back to me. Doc McStuffin's table is coming back at $50 a piece, or the medical cart last year. That was a little painful. That was not pleasant. So, people know when they're kind of getting jobbed. All right, we got time for just a couple more questions. We got some stuff rolling here. Let me try to catch back up. Sometimes competitor price is very high. You don't want to set a max, you will raise the price. I don't think I can make that call for a crazy customer. We have sold some insanely high priced items. Yeah, Dan, I'm not saying they're not out there. It just,
I have too. I always text Brendan at Prime Zero Prep, because sometimes my products will sell at like the max price he enters. Like I'll sell shoes for like $199, and that's just a price he puts in there, and then I go and change it later. But sometimes they'll sell, and it's hilarious. Probably happened like 5 times, but that always makes you really happy when it sells at your price that you just enter matter of fact way to get the listing in.
That pair of kids sandals that you paid $15 for and sells for $100, and you go, oh man, thanks. That was.
If anybody does that, they're completely insane.
Man, kids shoes. And we didn't even get to the road to 500K. I won't get into it tonight. We're on pace for.
Tell them about the big month, Duane.
Yeah, we got a big month. We might hit 30.
You're gonna hit 30. There's 4 days left.
Yeah, but we're running short. All right, let me throw it up real quick. We're gonna go.
You're almost at 28,000. What are you talking about? You're gonna make 30.
Let's see. I gotta bring this up on the other screen. Just real quick, we'll run through this week, month to date, all that good stuff. All right, road to 500K. And I don't know if you need to move your screen around or any of that kind of stuff to actually be able to see this. I guess I should log into Seller Central first rather than show you guys my login information. That's all right. Okay. Share screen. That's the right one. And 3, 2, 1. Share the screen. Okay, you should see my stuff. If not, you may have to move your screen around a little bit. Sometimes guests don't see it right away.
Look at that 30-day run rate.
Yeah, 30 days at just under 31,000. I mean, hopefully we'll get another $33 in sales and be at 31. We did touch 32 there for a minute. The 7 days dropped off a little bit. I slacked a little last week. You see the unit sold is less than a quarter of what it should be. So we're a little bit of a downtrend this week. Not happy about that. Balance is coming up. We just got dispersed on Friday. So see if we can get that $10,000 disbursement this time. For anyone that has not seen it, here's the pricing tab that we were talking about. I am not going to go through that because it's going to display my products, and I am not quite that giving. We'll go into the business reports real quick. All right, so we're at 575 on the day. See, and yesterday was 740. It's just we're dipping down off that 1,000. It's been a slow couple of days. I'm not liking that. But our month to date, we can jump into real quick. We are a little bit over 27,000 on the 27th. So yeah, with 3 days left because it's a long month, we'll probably make it. But man, some stuff's got to be checked in and shipped out and ready for actual sale. So,
4 days left. You got 4 days.
Yeah. Well, today's almost over. I know you get a lot of late night sales. We're probably going to pick up at most another couple $100 on the night. So if we hit 750 for the day, I'll be surprised. Year to date, just to see where we're compared to for last year. This will probably look a lot like your month. Yeah, 107,000 on the year. Yeah, that's right, Harvey. That's a year. Same date range last year, though. We were at 51,000, so we're over double of what we did for last year in that same time period, which is nice. That actually does set us up for the road to 500K pretty well. That would put us in about a 430 to 450 for the year. So I think we'll be able to crank that up a little bit. Back to the month to date, because you did ask about this, how it looks versus last month. We are at 27,000 with 3 days to go if you want to go 30 by 30.
You're pounding last month.
Yeah, last month we were at 22 for the entire month. And that was a good month for us. Wasn't great, but it was a good month. So I don't know what the final statistics are going to look like, but we should increase by about 40% over last month, somewhere in that neighborhood. Maybe a little less, 35, 40%.
35, yeah.
Okay. So, and just slightly better than we did last year during the month of June, or May, excuse me, at 6,700 in sales. There are some people that have days that are bigger than that, So, yeah, still selling the shoes. Shoes are coming in nice, not those big numbers, but we're getting a nice solid couple a day. See, we're above the 2 a day, couple $1,000. ASP slipping a little bit because these are like 15 for 30 type stuff that we're selling now versus the 20 for 40s that we were selling earlier, but not bad. I'll take a couple $1,000 in shoes for the month. I'm happy with that. and it is pretty well spread out. We're not too deep in very many. There are a couple that I did go extremely deep, but anyway, that's where things stand with our numbers. That is the month to date, year to date. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think Dan said we're murdering last year. Yes, we are, with a lot of help from people like Dan, like you, Harvey, Todd, Agus, you guys, Matt's awesome. Matt's like that quiet guy that just, I don't know. He's just cool. Matt's just laid back and, just going to make lots of money. You guys are all just laid back. Until you get fired up. Now, you will get fired up on occasion. I was hoping somebody came at you with some hard stuff tonight. Everybody's playing nice. So let me tell you guys, if you ask Harvey something stupid, he'll let you know you asked something stupid. And I asked him a question last night, and I was like, that sounds really dumb. I need to try to fix this. And every time I wrote something, it came out even worse. I was like, forget it. I'm going to bed. It's just, I give up. Because I was not as dumb as my question sounded. I couldn't express myself right. I was trying to figure out an easy way to do a profit loss based on monthly numbers and looking at increased sales or not sales, increased investment in my inventory. And really, at the end of the day, I just concluded it can't be done. You got to know what your cost of goods are on those specific items. So the fact that I'll tell you right now, we're losing money on paper, profit losses. We're losing money every month. But the fact is our inventory is twice as large as it was at the beginning of the year. Actually, it's about 4 times of what it was at the beginning of the year. It's increased significantly in the last. How do you figure out if you're on the right trajectory or not? And I guess you got to just crunch it more than I did. I know I just kind of rambled there, but I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. And I was looking at my QuickBooks at the time when I was really trying to shoot a message and say, how do I figure it out? If I've spent this much and it looks like my inventory's increased by that much, I really don't care that I show an overall loss. But can I try to figure out what my margins are? And I don't think I can. I got to know my actual cost of goods on that particular set of sales revenue. Anyway, I know it doesn't sound any better now. Forget it. I know what I'm trying to say. It's just not coming out right. But anyhow, trying to get this number stuff. But the big thing is I see the growth throughout the year, and it's all going to cash out in December. That's what I saw last year. We started last year like January 1st with like $7,000. We cashed out at the end of the year with like $42,000. Well, if I can start with $42,000 and have that same kind of growth, yeah, that would be awesome. Nothing like, closing out the year with $250,000 or whatever the numbers are.
That's possible.
Might be, but I don't think so. I don't think we'll cash out quite that big. Maybe 100. If we cash out 100, I'd be happy. All right. So that's it for the road to 500K. We are a few minutes past. Anybody have any kind of question? Beaver, last question. We'll give it to you. We got 2 right there back to back. Sorry. All right. Dan Metters first. Harvey, are you still shopping Target?
Absolutely.
All right.
I murdered Target last week.
Yeah, oh, yes, you did. And then I got so excited I ran out there and found nothing. So either I got beat to the punch or I don't know what I'm looking for.
Destroyed that place.
Yeah, I actually felt better when I saw Todd's haul, and it was like 6 things. I was like, okay, that's more like what I was seeing. But, yeah, you and Matt both killed it. So that's awesome. All right. Beaver says, question for Harvey. Are you still taking a minimum salary?
I would say, yeah, pretty minimal.
Just, yeah. You don't set yourself a salary. You just take whatever you feel like taking.
I take a certain amount, and sometimes I'll take a little bit more. Sometimes I'll put some back. I don't know.
Okay.
Money's there, so.
That's kind of what I do. If I need it, I take it. If not, man, I love not paying myself. That's where my deficit comes in. That's basically me, kind of paying myself. It's like I could grow and all that good stuff, but apparently my wife likes to eat. Kids like to eat. They get all grouchy if you don't feed them for a couple of days. It's like, all right, I'll take some money. Last thing, and this has nothing to do with you, Harvey, but feel free to chime in if you have any thoughts. Threads and Treads. We are coming up on the 1st of June. So guys, if you want to join Threads and Treads, You have to get on the join list by the 1st. You will receive a PM on June 1st, and you will be able to sign up, get in the group. If you do not receive that PM, let me know. I can definitely get you the payment link. It's a group that is awesome, run by Becky, David, and Lisa. I am just there kind of as, I don't know, support for them more than anything. I just let them run the group because they are fantastic at what they do. The link to that is facebook.com/groups/threads-and-treads. There you go. Becky's got it for you. So again, that's facebook.com/groups/threads-and-treads. And Harvey, you're in there, aren't you?
I am a paying member of that group.
I am going to put you on the spot. Dead honest, is it worth it? And I'm asking you, I told people don't ask questions you don't want answers to. I'm asking you, is it worth it?
Yes.
There you go.
The main reason it's worth it is it provides, it's mostly that I see mostly Amazon flip type of stuff. And that's not something I really have any experience looking for or doing. So I have some other lists that provide me more of like websites to look at. So it really fills a niche for me, and it's nice that it's so easy to order on Amazon on your phone. I use Threads and Treads mostly when I'm mobile versus when I'm at home to buy stuff. So yeah, I've certainly made several times my investment. I think I've been in there 2 months maybe. But,
awesome.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being in there. And seriously, I appreciate the honest feedback. And if we did stink, I'd be embarrassed, but you'd be like, hey, I'm out, but no, Becky, Lisa, David work very hard, and it's Amazon to Amazon flips for a reason. And that is you can buy out the inventory and it's an exact match for the listing that's already there because you're buying it from Amazon. So there's no guesswork. There's no, well, I bought it from Macy's and I thought it was the same thing, but I got this Izod shirt and now it doesn't have the little emblem that it's supposed to have. I don't know if it really matches. You don't get that because it's an Amazon flip and you buy them out. So you buy out your competition. So that's why we did set it up intentionally. I say we. That's why Becky, Lisa, and David set it up the way they did. Very intentional, and it's been excellent, I think, personally. So,
yeah.
Dan said, Harvey and Duane are two of my heroes, true Amazon hustlers. Harvey definitely is. I appreciate the sentiment, but no, I am not. I do hustle, but I am nowhere near the level that you guys.
You're pretty hard on yourself.
I'm seeing the facts. I'm trying to hit, like 30,000 in sales. I know I'm not working as hard as you guys are. Dan has like this amazing setup that he's got where he's cranking almost 300,000 a month. So
yeah, him and I are going to get together pretty soon. I think we've been talking about it.
I've been talking about the networking the last couple of weeks, and you guys are all kind of in that network that I've been working on the outskirts. And I love the fact that you're starting to talk to each other. Because you need to. You guys are big players that can do a lot of great stuff together. And, I'm happy to ride those coattails as long as I can. But the fact is, you guys could do some serious, serious business just working together because you got deep pockets, smart heads, and it's amazing just to watch it all come together. So with that, we are extremely late. And Harvey, thank you for your time. I'm sorry that we went past. But, dude, it was awesome. I appreciate you being on here.
Anytime. Thanks for giving me another opportunity after I had to cancel last week. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. No, kids baseball game, much more important than what we do here. No doubt about it. Those moments are freaking priceless. They're gone in a heartbeat too. I mean, you turn around one day and that little baby that you're feeding at 4 a.m. is going to be the 7-year-old that I have running around. I mean, it just overnight, it seems like. So, all right, guys. Thank you, everybody who showed up. How many people?
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, we're at 90 participants. I wonder if we topped out at 100. I don't know, but that's
somebody posted that there were 100 at one point.
Oh, awesome. See, we capped out. So it's all you, man. You are welcome on anytime. Come back. Love it. Appreciate the math and the knowledge and the work ethic, the hustle, man. It's all inspiring stuff. So thank you. And to everybody who watched,
thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night. We'll see you next week on Fast Turn Radio, Wednesday, 8 o'clock. Night, guys. See you, Harvey. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.